Welcome to this week's astrology. So, greetings, one and all. I'm Everett Curdy. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Before I go on to this video, I just want to say a couple of things. Number one, I'm going to sound like any average YouTuber or content creator out there. Please subscribe to my channel because I really want this content to be viewed by more people. So consider subscribing, consider liking the video so that it can get it further out into the YouTube algorithms. And also, maybe you could share it with your friends or people who would find meaning in this information. And you can leave a comment of how you're responding to the astrological energies and your thoughts on what I'm saying. And what does all this mean, all this information mean, which I'm about to give. What does it mean in your own personal natal birth chart? So I'd really like to hear that down below in the comments section. But so those are my things. The other big announcement is that I am working through a Saturn through the Signs series right now, and I already have an introduction video on the planet Saturn in astrology, and also I have a video on Saturn in Aries. And then on Sunday, September 24th, I am going to not only be publishing a video on Saturn in the sign of Taurus, but I'm also going to go live on that day, or I believe it's that day. I'm going to go live where I'm going to talk about the meaning of the autumn-fall equinox in spirituality. I may pull a couple oracle cards or two, and I may also do a meditation for that live stream. So it's an equinox celebration. Please consider joining me for that. All those links will be below, including the link to the live stream. Which reminds me of something that I may end up doing in this video, which is to pull a card for the week, for this week, live. So this is unplanned. I didn't do this prior to this video. It's just spontaneous. So if I remember at the end, I will do it. But so anyway, what do we have going on this week? Well, on September 24th, we have a sextile from Venus to Mars. Now, it isn't exact on this day, but it's close enough. Venus and Mars are close enough in their orbit and their influence to one another. Now, Venus is what we love and what we find valuable and beautiful, what we take pleasure in our life. And Venus is also the relationship planet, the feminine energy of, how do we show up for ourselves in our relationships? And what is the reason why I am entering into a relationship with this person? What am I going to get out of it? Is this person the right fit for me, compatible with me? Are we going to flow and get along? What is the type of relationship that works best and resonates the most with me? That's what Venus indicates in astrology. So what are your values? What do you love? Who do you love? What do you enjoy? It's all indicated by your Venus sign and house placement in your natal chart. Now, Mars is a whole nother story. So while Venus is very feminine in nature, Mars is very masculine. It is a go-getter planet. It is the planet of war. Mars is the planet of action. It wants to take action. It wants to find the pinhole in whatever is not working, and it wants to take action and initiate something and fix it. Put the pinhole back in its particular place. Put things into a particular way in your life where you can take action and get yourself out of the bed in the morning. And Mars also rules over energy. It deals with the energy that you have, the drive that you have to achieve what you want to in your life. So, so Mars is masculine. That's, what that energy comes down to. Mars rules Aries, Venus rules Libra, and Taurus. And so Mars is, really how you live from a life of power and how you, assert yourself, basically. Now, these two planets are in a sextile, which is an aspect of a window of opportunity. There is an opportunity that's being presented to you, but it's up to you to take advantage of that opportunity and use the energies which are available at your disposal to take use of. It's kind of like a tool that you have access to, but the tool is not going to do it on its own. You have to get up and pick up that tool and make use of it. That's the sextile. So it is benefic in the way of providing you the resources, but ultimately you are the ones who carry out the deed. You are the ones to take the action. And it relies on a little bit of a push, where you need to, actively use the energy. And so when it comes to sextile, when two planets sextile each other, they are two signs apart from one another. So Mars is in Libra, Venus is in Leo. Fire and air. So we have, two apart from each other. So two signs ahead of Leo is Libra, and vice versa. So when planet is sextile, it falls under the categories of fire and air, the masculine elements, and then earth and water, the more feminine elements. So this particular aspect of Venus and Mars in a sextile is good for any kind of romance, any kind of socializing, so getting out and about, meeting new people, getting out into the world, and doing your thing. It creates some more open and curious energy to meet new people and have conversations. And with Mars, it is how you initiate. So initiating, you are going out into the world and you are initiating and striking up conversations with people. You're initiating relationships. You're initiating what is going to be done that is in alignment with your values. You're initiating anything that falls under the Venus categories: values, pleasure, money, relationship, all those kind of things like that. So there's the willingness here to make the first move, the willingness to step up to the plate and, initiate something like that. So that is very much Mars energy. And so the other thing is that Mars is the quest. Mars is the hunt. Mars is where you seek to go to find some meaning in your life when it comes to feeling that sensual feeling of being in a body and feeling the primal feeling of being alive in the physical body. And so Venus is the relationship planet. And so what this combination provides is a good opportunity to have an adventure with a partner. It's a great, it's a Sunday, it's a weekend day, it's to travel. It would be great for travel. It would be wonderful for having a picnic or just going on a new adventure or just spicing something up in your relationship, doing something where the two of you can really feel alive that you're not sitting in the humdrum, stagnant way that things have always been, but you are doing something fun and exhilarating and enjoyable that the both of you can enjoy, like whether it be going hiking or whether it be playing a board game or watching a movie, whatever it is, something that the two people can do together, the two individuals in the relationship can do together that is fun and worthwhile and enjoyable. And so, the other thing is that Mars is a chaser planet. Mars wants to chase after something, go after something with gusto, go after something with determination and persistence and drive and enthusiasm. So it's a great transit to chase down your creative visions. And not only that, but your passions, because Venus is what you love. So chasing down what you love, what you find to be pleasurable, what brings you that sense of self-worth. Chase it down, go after it, and bring it into your life, is what I'm going to say. And you can take that and do whatever you want with it. But, and so enjoying pleasure. This is a very sensual combination. So your appetite for anything sensual or anything sensory oriented or anything that gives you pleasure and joy is going to be available for you. So this could be sex, it could be, eating, whatever it is. And it is enjoyed in a way that is daring and determined and self-focused. And, I mean, if it was a square, then it maybe would be more on the selfish end of things. But because it's a sex style, you can enjoy all the pleasures of the sensual world in a very determined, courageous, passionate way. And this aspect is also great for smoothing over the edges or the rough edges in a relationship. So let's say that the two partners were having sort of one partner has a beef with another partner. And so it's a great aspect for forgiveness, for just being open and receptive to what the other has to say, to hearing the other's point of view, valuing the other person's perspective, honoring their vantage point, and having diplomatic, harmonious, and kind conversations with those people that we may have a difficult time with, if there's any hurt or wound or upset or, kerfuffle that went on, or, a wedge that was driven in the relationship, or any kind of relationship difficulty, where the two had a falling out, the two people had a falling out, or there was just a schism and a dislike for one person and the other. This aspect can be great for forgiveness and making amends, drawing the olive branch, making peace within the two people. But then Mars energy is who you are as an individual, and we have to come from a place of autonomy. We have to come from our hearts. We have to come from our authenticity to make that, make the amends and, speak our truth and understand where the other is coming from. So asserting yourself and your truth and how you feel on your side of things is also important. Now, the next thing I'm going to speak to is on the 25th of September. So we have another trine between Mercury and Jupiter. So if you've been following my weekly videos, I spoke about this aspect a couple of times before. So the first time around, Mercury was walking the prey shadow. It was in Virgo. It started at 8 degrees. It went all the way back, all the way forward to 21 degrees. And then it stood still and it went backwards. So during that first run of when Mercury was moving from 8 to 21 degrees, there was a moment when Mercury was trining Jupiter. So that set us up for the benevolence and opportunities and blessings and new philosophical insights that we would discover through the Mercury retrograde time period, which was a deeply meaningful, reflective, internal, and contemplative time. So it's very introspective. Mercury trine Jupiter, when Mercury's direct and it's trine Jupiter, we're looking more outside of ourselves. We're looking to the world of information and knowledge and wisdom and fun and experiences and so many things like that. But when Mercury was retrograde, we were doing some inner work. We were looking inside of ourselves to see what is the inner work, the inner voyage, the inner discovery, discovering wisdom and expansion through going within ourselves. And then now Mercury is trining Jupiter again. And now it's like, okay, well, we've done the reflection, we've done the marination, we've done the contemplation, and we went into introspection, and we've gained knowledge on the narratives that we tell ourselves, information from the unconscious. I mean, all those Mercury retrograde themes that we have discovered during the Mercury retrograde, and now we can actually take action on them. Now we can do something about them. Now we can have that fun thrill of expansion and growth that Jupiter provides. So this aspect of Mercury trine Jupiter is an aspect where we have the two planets of learning and thinking and knowledge and education coming to the forefront. Mercury corresponds to the third house, which is grade school, which pertains to grades 1 through 12, elementary, middle, and high school. So Mercury rules over Gemini, which corresponds to the third house, so short distance travel, information, around what is in your immediate environment, your siblings, all those kind of things are, really related to the third house. So Mercury rules Gemini, which is very, sucked in, well, not sucked in, but very attuned to the little details of life. And then Jupiter rules something much higher than Mercury, much higher than the, day-to-day. I'm doing one little detail to move on to the next little detail. It's not so much about the data collecting as it is having the broader vision, as it is stepping back and seeing the world from a broader lens, from a greater lens, and finding a more philosophical and spiritual perspective on life, and gaining clarity and detachment from that place, and realizing how powerful I am, and realizing how much farther I have to go in my life, and how far I can actually stretch myself. Jupiter indicates what is your potential in this lifetime. How will you grow spiritually in this lifetime? And in what direction will you move in is determined by your Jupiter sign, that you will find the blessings from moving in that direction. So Jupiter is benefic, so wisdom through experiences and fun and all those kind of things like that. And Saturn is malefic, so wisdom and hard-learned lessons from maturity, from hard work, all those things like that. Limitations, restrictions, self-control, healthy boundaries, all those things related to Saturn. So it's an aspect with Mercury and trine with Jupiter, which is super positive. A trine is a very positive aspect between two planets. It's a time to open up your mind to new ways of viewing the world, to new perspectives, to new ideas, to new information, to new thoughts, all those kind of things like that. So it's an invitation to view the world in a new way. Maybe you have a conversation with somebody and they have this idea that you've never heard about before, but oh well, I think that idea is so neat. I want to quote you on that, or want to take you up on that, or just really being interested to that other person's idea. So understanding how other people view the world in a new way and maybe gaining perspective, whether that be traveling somewhere or getting in a balloon and viewing, because when you get into a balloon, you gain clarity when you're looking at the world from a much broader lens. So when you're in a balloon, you're seeing what lies down on the ground, basically. So it's also great for learning new things, taking in new information, having in new perspectives. So learning, any kind of learning, especially if it's learning about philosophical and spiritual topics, such as astrology and other things like that. So then the other question is, are you teachable and are you curious and are you willing to learn new things? Or do you choose to be dogmatic and only choosing to be so true to your beliefs and your way of viewing life in the world? So, are you coachable? Can you be taught new things, or not taught, but just given new information? So Mercury and Jupiter brings out the highest level of both of these two planets, and both of these two planets at a high frequency are about learning, are about growing in terms of the mind. Mercury is the smaller day-to-day mind. Jupiter is the bigger, larger mind. So are you open to new viewpoints, philosophy, all those kind of things like that? So then this aspect is also about communicating from a wise and philosophical place. So knowing what you want to say, knowing all the wisdom and all the philosophical insight that you have gained throughout this whole Mercury retrograde journey of these trines between Mercury and Jupiter playing out. Now you can communicate all that. Now you can take action on all of that imperfection, all of that information, and all of those new spiritual insights that you have gained throughout this whole Mercury retrograde journey. On September 26th and 27th, the moon is going to be in its dreamy sign of Pisces. So the moon rules over our emotions, it rules over our instincts, our intuition, our innermost nature. It rules over reflection and nurturing other people. It deals with who we are really, our innate needs. And the moon in mundane astrology rules over the people. So the people and our needs on an emotional level. That's what the moon rules. And so when the moon's in Pisces for these couple of days, it's a couple of days to be vulnerable, to feel all the feels, to really allow ourselves to feel all the emotions that come up. And, to sit with them, to really be present with them, to feel them and allow them a voice at the table. And maybe we can do an audio recording where we're speaking to those emotions, or do a video, or do a journal, or talk to somebody about what we're feeling and about what we're going through. And it could also be just feeling those feelings. So that's one thing here. And another thing is maybe leaning in deeper to your feelings, into the deeper, more unconscious emotions and unconscious habit patterns and desires and intentions and emotional needs at an unconscious level, because Pisces rules over the unconscious aspects of yourself that are your blind spot. The Pisces corresponds to the 12th house and the things that you don't just see with the naked eye, because you can't see Neptune with the naked eye. So what are the more hidden away and more subconscious feelings? And then another way that you can use this energy, this transit of the moon in Pisces, is to allow yourself time in the dream state. To let yourself dream and, wander off into a particular place and to just escape for a time being. So dreaming, going into meditation, going into any kind of introspection during this moon would be favored. And then the final thing that I just want to talk about, the final couple of things, is connecting with our intuition. Pisces rules over what is not structured and what is not laid out as a plan where bricks and mortar build a building. It's not a plan where if I put all my ducks in a row this way, it's going to be happening in this particular way. Because you may have a plan, but the universe has an even greater and an even better plan. So when we release the need for structure and control and for things to be a certain way and come in a certain form, we can more fully connect to our intuition, which is our inner guiding compass, or inner knowing. Your intuition is not going to lie to you. Your intuition is going to know what feels right and what doesn't, just by a feeling. It doesn't have anything to do with your ego mind, because then we feel something, then we try to rationalize it and make it logical and make it make sense in our mind. And then we cut ourselves off from that intuition. We don't just trust our feeling, trust our instincts. So it's time to allow if something feels right or not, and allow your mood and allow your inner authority and a higher self and your intuition to guide you. And another thing with this moon is about leaning into compassion. So leaning into that unconditional love that is so very reminiscent to Pisces. When we can just sit down with whatever is going on, whatever plan we have, whatever thing that we feel that we need to do, check off our list or whatever. We can sit and shut our eyes for a moment and then take a deep breath in and out. Exhale, inhale. Inhale, exhale. And we can be in our power. We can be replenished. And we can be present and grounded and centered and in a state of peace and love for others, and in a state of deep compassion and understanding from a heart and soul place. And the other thing you can, do to take advantage of this moon in Pisces, if you so want to, is activities involving water. So this can be taking a shower. This can be going to a sauna, going to a swimming pool, in a hotel room, or wherever. Getting a massage, whatever it may be that brings you a state of calm and soothing sense of peace. Like setting up a bath with candles around you. So anything calming that involves water, drinking water, watering plants, whatever it is. And there's also, whenever the moon in Pisces comes around, there's a heightened sensitivity and empathy. We're more energetically attuned to what is around us. We're more empathetic to people's energies and people's vibrations and what people do and what people say. So it's very, very important that we put ourselves in an environment where we feel at peace. And where we feel nourished and taken care of. That we allow information in that brings us peace and that is uplifting and calming and all those kind of things like that. Not fear-mongering, not, negative or, whatever that may be. So, when it comes to the heightened sensitivity, there may be a sensitivity to where we don't want to face reality. We want to escape off to another land. That's also something related to Pisces. It's an escapist sign. So we're very, very sensitive. This reality is way too much for us. And so we want to escape. And so we can escape in various ways, but drugs and alcohol are not one of those ways. So allow yourself time to escape, but get back to the practical reality of life. So then we navigate further to the full moon in Aries on September 29th. Now, I want to be absolutely clear. I had a plan that I would talk about this full moon and refer to it as an eclipse before I found out the real definition for what an eclipse is and what it means. It's not so much about the signs that the nodes are in that makes the conditions for an eclipse to happen. So the nodes back on July 17th of this year moved backwards into Aries and Libra. And so you would think that there would be a lunar eclipse in Aries, a lunar eclipse being a full moon, the moon conjunct either the north node or south node. You would think that this full moon would be an eclipse because it's a lunation occurring when the nodes are in Aries and Libra. However, this full moon is occurring at 6 degrees, which is too far away from where the nodes are now at 25 degrees, thereabouts. So that's too far away. The nodes are not close enough to the point that the moon is at. But the moon is going to be closer to where the north node, to where the south node is at, for the new moon solar eclipse on October 14th. And then there's going to be another lunar eclipse in Taurus on October 28th, which is going to be just a partial lunar eclipse. And even though the nodes have moved on to Aries and Libra, they're still close enough away to that moon in Taurus. The north node is still close enough away to that moon transit that's going to be going on that day. So it's not an eclipse. I would say the moon has to be about 15 degrees away from where the north node is in order to have an eclipse. And the sun has to be either opposing or conjuncting the moon also for it to be an eclipse. So you combine all those conditions and, now you have the criteria for an eclipse. Now, I want to make this abundantly clear. Again, this is just a full moon. Yeah. This full moon occurs at 5:01 a.m. Central Time and 6:01 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So it occurred, and by the way, you can convert this full moon into your into a time zone converter to find out what time this full moon will be occurring for you. But this full moon is at 6 degrees and 1 minute of Aries. So the sun is at 6 degrees of Libra. The moon is at 6 degrees of Aries. So the sun and moon are opposing each other. Now you want to look at your natal chart. If you have your sun, moon, Mercury, Venus, Mars, midheaven, or ascendant from 4 to 8 degrees of the cardinal signs, which include Aries, Libra, Cancer, and Capricorn, because this lunation is going to be far more powerful and far more spiritually meaningful if you have planets or points at and around, at those degrees. So 6 degrees and 2 behind, 2 forward, 2 on either side, basically. So full moons are when the sun opposes the moon. So the sun and the moon are always in opposite signs when there's a full moon. So there's a push-pull, there's a tug-of-war going, where the two luminaries are going in opposite directions. They're not seeing eye to eye. One wants to go this way and do this, while the other wants to go the other way. So when a person's born with the sun opposite moon, it can create some friction. It can create a ping pong match. In a internal conflict, like I want to express this, my ego wants this, but then no, my moon wants that. So it is, there is that conflict and that unrest and that obstacle there. So full moons are times where things come to a lot of endings. Full moons are like the climax, or you've hit the peak of the mountain and you can't really go further, only down. And it invites us to purge and emotionally release what no longer works in our life. Full moons are also very emotional times when we feel more strongly, intensely about things, and we need to let those emotions out, not hold those emotions in. And also during full moons, people do not get as much sleep during full moons because of the brightness and the energy of it. And there can also be more crime around full moons also. So this full moon is a particularly wild full moon. Because there's not really a whole lot of aspects that the moon is making to the outer planets. So this full moon is really running wild. So it's really important around this time to go slow, to just slow everything down. Take it one step at a time. One step at a time. Go slowly. Look before you leap. Think about what you're going to say and what you're going to do, and what is the consequence of your actions. What are the rewards or punishments that are going to come out of what I'm going to do? If I cross the road and a car is driving by, I might get hit by it. So we're not just acting on impulse and acting just because, we want to act, we want to rebel, or do whatever. We're not acting just because we feel the energy inside of us it's not going to work out too well later on. Well, it's just that. And when we can take a little bit of a breath and get grounded and consider when this action, the effect that this action is going to have on other people and on ourselves on a physical, emotional, and spiritual level. So before jumping in, before ending something, before acting on impulse, initiating something, going after something, we need to think about it and reflect on it and contemplate it. And so the energy around a full moon is energy that is very, very chaotic, and it's an unbalanced energy, where it's harder to get grounded, or it's harder to slow down and be present and be here and now. Where the energy is kind of wild, and we feel restless, scattered, very, very emotionally driven. So that is something to keep in mind, and do the things that you do for yourself to keep grounded. And so it's important to have patience and slack with people, to give others and yourself grace at this time, to be patient, to give people the benefit of the doubt, to cut people some slack during this time. Because we're all doing the best that we can do, and we're all trying to be the best that we can be. So if we can be kind and understanding and loving and compassionate and accepting of other people and what they're saying, what they're doing, we can really get far with the energy of an Aries full moon. And any emotions anywhere where we have been limited because the moon and the North Node are in Aries, if we've been limited when it comes to expressing our authentic self, if we feel like we can't initiate the goals that we want to achieve in the world and, the life that we want, or expressing our anger and our truth, then those things may really come to the forefront. If there's any unhealthy patterns in relationships, people pleasing, being a yes person, giving lip service, codependency, enmeshment. If we are in this relationship because we are dependent on someone else to provide us with certain things, then that will be perhaps revealed to the surface, a little or a lot. If we have compromised what we want and need for the other person, where we lost our sense of self. then that's what this full moon is going to reveal. And it's all dance. It's all a balance between me and my goals and what do I want for this relationship and what do I want my life to be versus we. The balance, the harmony, that we're not here to do this alone. We're here to do this with other people. We're here to live in a divine union with other people. We're here to be in relationship. And so Libra is the we, that we balance each other out, that we work together with each other, that we are there for each other. We're all in this together. We support and raise each other up, especially in difficult times. We help each other, and everyone should get included. And life should be fair, and everyone should be very peaceful and accepting of everyone else. So that is the balance between me versus we. So then the other thing that I just want to speak to is fresh starts. So I can't believe I'm going to have to do this during a video. Three, two, one.
Okay. To pull it out of the dryer, just a moment. Okay, actually, put the socks. Put them right here on the floor of it and just put them on the sink. No. I'll lay them here by the door then, okay? On the floor? Okay. Can I come in? Yeah, okay. Really wasteful. Sometimes you do that. Showers and baths tonight, possible. I'm getting tired of doing laundry every 5 minutes, I really am. Where are your socks?
Yep.
Stop yelling at
Leave
me.
them outside.
Alright, then you stop yelling at
Here,
me.
you get another pair.
It didn't even touch the floor, you dum-dum. Now quit it.
Get another pair of socks.
Everett, they didn't touch anything. I'm sorry. That's enough. I'm getting out of here. And you know what? Don't yell at me. I don't like it. I'm trying to help you, which is not really helping you, which is making your problem worse, but I am helping you. So please don't yell at me, okay?
Are you sure that there's not another pair of socks? Well, well,
Did you go to the bathroom, Robert? Well, you're asking me something.
get another towel.
Of course, because I have all these towels to give you. Try to keep it warm and Monday if possible. Because that's my life right now, is just doing your laundry. It's such a fulfilling thing to do. All times a day, every day. I live to serve. I live to serve. Right? I'm gonna put these clean clothes in your for you.
Yeah, this is getting a little bit low.
Okay, you're gonna knock it off pretty soon and then go. No, there's plenty in there. I'll put more in tomorrow sometime. There is plenty enough for tonight. Plenty. Okay.
Video.
Well, well, this will be up till 2 in the morning again.
What?
It'll be up
We
till
have to start video.
everybody has probably time on it.
What time is it now?
Okay, thank you. Okay, yeah.
Alright.
I'm in the middle of a recording.
You can always pick it up in the morning.
No, I want to finish.
Try not to be really late, okay? Because you know, we're really hey, why do you slam the door in my face? It's not very nice. I'll just say goodnight. Goodnight. Say goodnight.
Good night.
Try not to wake me up. Because, are you mad at me or something? Because I don't really like people slamming in my face, okay?
I'm trying to take care of the things. I just need to think clearly.